Some people say that Insta360's Ace Pro is the best action camera ever made. I say that there are a lot of things to try out before we can make a conclusion, so let's inspect. Hey everybody, great to meet you. I'm the Tech Mishka, and let me start this video by saying that I'm a heavy Insta360 camera user, and I'm absolutely certain that their spherical cameras are the best on the market. And for a very long time, Insta360 wanted to beat the GoPro Hero series about action cameras. So this is the new Ace Pro. I've actually started working on this video a couple of months ago, as soon as this camera was released. Just wanted to give it enough time for the firmware updates to collect enough footage because it's winter time over here. And actually, I have discovered a lot of very interesting things. Some of them you haven't seen in other reviews. So is this the best action camera on the market right now? Let's find out. Price-wise, it is unfortunately not the best, because it's a little more expensive than both GoPro Hero and DJI Osmo Action series. On the other hand, there's the non-Pro version, which has somewhat less in terms of specs, but in most cases, this is enough to say that it could also outperform the above-mentioned alternatives. I'm trying to say that if Insta360 have designed it well and in a functional way, it may be a pretty solid choice. This is why we keep up with the inspection and go for the unboxing. Pretty solid experience. From the box we get to know about the collaboration with Leica. They also mention about the lovely low light video performance and about some of the other key highlights. Taking the camera out shows a form factor similar to GoPro. The Ace line is very different to the R and the RS series, and it doesn't come with a modular design, but still has some tricks up its sleeves. I had to go through an initial firmware update, worked just fine. It's actually the first time that I've had a flawless first-time setup with an Insta360 camera, which is good. It feels well built, although not as rugged as the DJI Osmo Action series. The display's quite interesting. A couple of years ago, I've reviewed Mocha Cam, which came with the same kind of idea, and of course some other mirrorless cameras have such kind of a flip screen. Quality here is of course very high, but this still remains a rather fragile component. At the same time, it's a very functional enhancement, so that instead of adding a secondary smaller display, you can rely on the main one, or you can get the GPS preview remote and have it on your wrist or anywhere you want. This is a very favorite feature, I guess inspired by the Go series, and the connection happens much easier and faster than opening the app on the smartphone. Up until now, we can see a well-built camera with a lot of innovation and lots of ideas that the community has expressed a desire to see implemented. This bottom quick-release bracket is yet another proof. If you want more, then the specs are even more convincing. A new generation of the flagship AI-capable system-on-a-chip by Umbrella, a 1x1.3-inch image sensor, up to 8K video recording resolution supported, a lot of exciting frame rates and slow-motion options, the famous flow state stabilization, ability to capture RAW photos, there's a 1650 mAh removable battery, a huge 2.4-inch flip screen, and the weight of the camera is close to 180 grams. These specs, they sound amazing and probably mean that in terms of hardware, the Ace Pro is superior when compared to GoPro Hero 12 and the DJI Osmo Action 4 series. And we know that in order to get a great action camera, it's supposed to have the perfect synergy between hardware, software, user experience, and so on. And you know me, I'm a very curious guy, so I kept on digging about the hardware specifications because Insta360 are kind of keeping us in the dark about all of that. And I stumbled across notes from investors call by the company called Umbrella from last year, where they speak about utilizing their CV5 SoC in the latest generation of Insta360's action cameras, which kind of matches 5nm manufacturing process, AI capabilities, 8K video recording. Sounds like the Ace Pro. And if we assume that inside there's the CV5 SoC, this is actually great news because that's a very powerful system on a chip. It's actually capable of recording 60p in 8K resolution. And no, it doesn't mean that Insta360 can raise the FPS in 8K on this camera. Most likely it means that if we get any future generations or iterations, they could be even better than that. As for the image sensor, I'm afraid I don't have any specific proof of what is inside, but I would bet maybe that's an OmniVision image sensor, the same as the one used with DJI Osmo Action 4 and whatever DJI deploy in their mini drone series. And I really was surprised by the statement by Andre from the Worth It or Not channel, by the way, one of the best places for action camera reviews, that this is right now the best action camera. And I had, of course, to record a lot of footage in order to figure out whether this is true or not. One thing we can say for sure, it has the most processing power of the year. And about the video quality and the UI, let's explore together. As for the menus and the config options, this has been a weird feeling in a very good way. It's kind of a mixture between the simplicity of DJI Osmo Action series and the depth provided by the Pro Tune settings by GoPro. Having the most computing power means that you have the most responsive menus. The features are so many. Maybe Insta360 sort of overwhelm you with their terms and features though. Because it is clear what video mode is up to, but terms such as pure video, free frame mode, star lapse and so on, you may need some time to get used to. If we go for the basics, super easy to switch between the resolutions. While you're at the main screen and you swipe left, you're gonna see the Pro options and you can manually control the exposure, which is awesome for capturing some pro-grade footage. Just don't forget that the slower shutter speed will somewhat decrease the effectiveness of the image stabilization. There are a few viewing angles and even a horizon lock feature. Well, the latter one is not as effective as a GoPro yet. There's an HDR toggle option, stabilization grade tuning, basically everything that a good action camera should be capable of these days. The most significant update is, in my opinion, the pure video feature. It's a special mode where the AI capacity of the camera is involved, reduces noise, enhances brightness, and improves dynamic range, meaning that the Ace Pro delivers unmatched image quality in low light compared to the other cameras on the market. And we can easily say that this here is the new action camera low-light champion. Furthermore, I can expect that Insta360 is gonna be able to squeeze even more out of the chipset because, remember, it is still quite a fresh one and there might be some room for improvements. But even as it is, the quality of the footage is astonishing. Biking in the winter feels kinda crazy, but we did it, and despite the poor light and the lack of sunshine, the image stays sharp and detailed. For the record, these are conditions where usually using my GoPro camera is a hard pass. Slow motion is also a strong side here. Finally, Insta360 bring in a 4K 120 frames per second mode, and it looks stunning. It's more than what most people would actually need, and right now the only frame rate that GoPro can offer better than that is 240 frames per second in 2.7K. Ace Pro can match the frame rate in 1080p resolution, however. The microphone quality, I think it's good. It's actually really good, probably still having a little bit to catch up in terms of comparison to a GoPro internal microphone, but the good news, if you have one of those DJI external wireless microphones, they work with the Ace Pro. As far as photos concerned, you have the ability to capture raw images and fine-tune whatever is needed to get the best kind of photo. There is, of course, a lot more to the video and the photo capturing. I loved the long press to cancel recording feature. The AI Highlights Assistant is quite a unique one. While I don't use it that often, it can come handy for people who are uncomfortable doing video edits because the AI is expected to help you highlighting the meaningful content. There's support for gesture controls, maybe inspired by Insta360's smart web camera released a couple of years ago. AI editing, selfie stick eraser, the awesome AI warp, which I've used a few times already. Just take your time and go through the smartphone app and its countless editing features. This is one of the biggest advantages as compared to DJI and GoPro, at least in my point of view. Speaking of edits, and if you have ever been close to Insta360's portfolio, there is no longer the need to post-process everything or to use an app in order to add stabilization. The videos are ready to use out of the box without any further enhancements. If you are a pro and calibrating and following the 180-degree shutter rule is needed, you can of course take advantage of all of that. Still, in order to make the review complete, we have to of course speak of the drawbacks. As a starter, Insta360 say that the front lens is non-removable, which is technically incorrect. Perhaps doing so is going to void your warranty, but to me, this was the cheaper way to get ND filters, which wouldn't cost a fortune. There is no display auto brightness feature, the minimum focusing distance is 40 cm, a bit too much for an action cam, there's no dedicated log mode, which is a missed opportunity, but you anyway have the flat color profile, which is good enough in most cases. There is no 10-bit recording mode, which is perhaps the biggest disappointment. Insta360 tried to make it up to you by giving you up to 170 megabits per second bitrate in the top recorded resolutions. And last but not least, the weight, because it feels kind of heavy. Conclusion time. So what are we going to say about this buddy, the Ace Pro? Well, let's keep it simple. If you want to beat GoPro, you have to provide a better working product at a lower price, which has worked really well in the case of DJI Osmo Action 4. Here, we have superior hardware, we have much better software ecosystem, performance which apparently in many cases is also a lot better than the GoPro. The price is still higher though, which reminds me to remind you that you can check for the best possible deal I managed to squeeze for you in the video description area. So am I going to recommend it? Well, if you put the price aside, totally. It's probably really the best action camera on the market that you can buy. Question is, are you really convinced it is time to ditch the GoPro Hero series? Because right now, given the new CV5 by Umbrella, I feel that they are in a very serious trouble. So let's keep on talking about all of this in the comment section below the video. If you enjoyed this, maybe you want to share it with family and friends. And if you want to join me in this journey of exploring more cool tech, then make sure to be subscribed to the channel. I'm the Tech Mishka. Look forward to seeing you again here. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Bye.